real solutions to money, relationships, wellness, and more. Shine a light onto your day and into your life. Power Your Life with Dr. Joanne White.
Welcome to Power Your Life. I'm Joanne White, your host, and my first guest is a New York Times best-selling author who wrote the Silver Linings Playbook, which later became an Oscar-winning film. Now Matthew Quick is back with a new novel called The Good Luck of Right Now, and he joins us via Skype to tell us all about it. Welcome, Matthew.
Thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it.
And I appreciate you. You and I had a little bit of a conversation, and you said to me that Robin Williams was an inspiration to you. How was that?
Yeah, I saw Dead Poets Society, I think when I was a junior in high school, and I was just so taken by the performance. It was one of the things that really made me want to teach and put some good into the world. So he definitely was a huge inspiration.
And you did teach. You taught English, and you did a lot with young adults, and you even have some books for young adults with some topics that are kind of pretty deep in terms of suicide and killing a friend and also sexual abuse. How are those books received by your young adult audience?
You know, I always say, you know, if you give kids a chance to tell the truth, if you give kids a chance to talk about these things, they always take you up on those chances. When I taught high school English, I found that kids were desperate to talk about the heavy issues, you know, the things that they were struggling with. And you know, when I was a teenager, I went to literature to figure out things that other people wouldn't talk about. You know, I didn't know it at the time, but I was definitely struggling with depression and anxiety. Nobody talked about those things, but I went to literature to find peers, to find answers, to feel a little bit less alone in the world. And so I hope that's what teens get from my reads too. And the fan mail that I get from them seems to suggest that that's true, that's happening.
How did you cope with your depression, Matthew?
When I was a teenager?
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time alone. I listened to a lot of very sad music. I had a red notebook that I used to just write in all the time, and I didn't realize it at the time, but now looking back in retrospect, I'd say I was doing art therapy. That's where I go. I go to the page to take all the chaos in my mind and you know, try to make order out of it. And I did that kind of intuitively as a teenager. Now I do it very consciously as an adult.
I understand that as being a writer myself. You also once said in an interview that if you weren't laughing and crying when you were writing, you wouldn't finish the project. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to emote when you write. You know, you have to feel it. I think it was Robert Frost that said, no tears in the writer, no tears in the reader. And, you know, and I used to work with teenagers diagnosed with severe autism, and the turnover of the staff was quite high. And anytime someone came in, you know, a new person to work with our students, we always watched to see if they would laugh on the first day. Not laugh at our students, of course, but laugh at the absurdity of the situation that we were given every single day. And if that person laughed, we knew that they would show up to work the following day. If they never laughed once during the day, they would never come back. And I think that's true of a lot of things in life. You know, you've got to find a way to emote, a way to express your feelings, and a way to kind of laugh at the absurdity of it all. When I first started writing, you know, everyone told me, you'll never be published, you know, the novel's dead, you'll never make a living. And, you know, you had to laugh at that a little bit or you would never keep going.
So I totally agree, because laughter is, and especially laughing at yourself, is so essential to be able to move forward. The characters that you've created, Pat in Silver Linings Playbook and Bartholomew in your new book, do you in any way represent them, or is there a piece of you in those characters?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think any writer, especially a fiction writer, would be lying if they didn't admit that you know, there's a little piece of us in all of our characters. But I've always felt very much as someone who is kind of on the fringe, on the outside, and I can blend in when I need to. You know, I give a lot of talks, I give a lot of presentations. You know, I taught for many years. But I'm somebody who generally feels most comfortable alone and kind of on the fringe, or, you know, in one-on-one situations. So I've always felt as though I've kind of lived this double life where I'm a fake extrovert, but a true introvert. And it surprises people. You know, a lot of my students, when I talk about my depression very openly now, they'll say, my former students will say, Q, when you were teaching high school, like, there's no way, like, you know, you're this guy that was upbeat all the time. You're always, you know, giving these motivational speeches, and that's one side of me, but there's this other side of me that feels very much like a misfit or a freak, or, you know, somebody who doesn't fit in easily. I can put a mask on and blend into society, but you know, when I go to the page, I try to tell the truth, and that's one of the places where I feel that I can be me.
In your new book, tell us something about it that is something about synchronicity, or just about the way that everything fits in that's really very interesting. I don't know how many people really are familiar with this like they are with Silver Linings Playbook.
Yeah, I mean, in the book, Bartholomew Neal, he becomes obsessed with Richard Gere. The whole book is letters to Richard Gere, and he becomes, you know, kind of interested in Buddhism and in duality and opposites. And so the book plays with this idea that, you know, anytime something good happens somewhere, something bad has to happen somewhere else to even it out. And, you know, for me in my life at the time when I was writing this book, it was right as Silver Linings was starting to be filmed, and a lot of really good things were happening for me. And I felt, to be honest, I felt a tremendous amount of guilt in some ways, even though I'd worked hard and I try to be a good person, and I felt as though I'd earned those successes. But there are a lot of my writing friends who are wonderful people, kind human beings that worked just as hard as I did, in some cases for decades longer, who had never had those experiences. So I was thinking a lot about fortune and good luck and opposites. And, you know, it was a way for me to kind of to think about, you know, the duality of life, and why certain good things happen to certain people, not other people, and what do we do with that? You know, because I've certainly had low times as well, and kind of balancing the low times in my life with the high time, and you know, just trying to take a look at the ups and downs that we all go through as human beings.
Thanks. We'll be right back with author Matthew Quick right after the break, so stay with us. We're back again with New York Times best-selling author Matthew Quick. Hello, Matthew.
Hello.
Silver Linings Playbook, and how do you feel about the movie, the film, versus the book? Do you feel that it best represented your book?
I think David O. Russell did a very good job adapting my novel. I think that the flavor of it that is there, definitely the intent of it is there. You know, obviously the book is mine, so I'm going to be partial to it. And I think I was trying to do something a little bit different than David was trying to do. But the beautiful thing was that in conjunction, they started a really important conversation about mental health. And I know that was very important to me. And, you know, by doing promotions with David, I came to understand that it was very important to him as well. And he was quite open about why he did the film. It was a gift to his son, who, like myself, is a member of the mental health community. And everybody I worked with, you know, whether they talked about it privately or publicly, they had very specific reasons for doing the film, which I thought was very heartening, and I was very proud to be a part of it. That all being said, I'm always happy when people read the book, because that's my art. You know, that's what I wanted to put into the world. So
there are about 30 million people in the United States that have mental health challenges every year. That's pretty astounding. It's a pretty astounding statistic. In the Silver Linings Playbook, how did you feel about Bradley Cooper and some of the other actors that were picked? Did that fit for you?
I was really happy that Bradley Cooper was picked, because he's a Philly local guy. You know, he's spotted at the Eagles games, right. You know, sometimes. So that's always nice when, you know, you have somebody local to play a Philly character. I was really kind of disappointed at first when Jennifer Lawrence was cast. Anne Hathaway was cast first, and then she dropped out, and Jennifer Lawrence, even though I really admired her, I thought she was way too young for the part. But then when I saw her, the first time I saw the film, I was just blown away, and I was so happy that David had made that choice. I also think that Jennifer Lawrence plays Tiffany close to the book. Her and Anupam Kher's Dr. Cliff are probably the two characters that are most consistent with the novel. So I was very glad about that. And, anytime Robert De Niro is involved, it's not too shabby, right? I mean,
Right.
he's so it was amazing to meet him and to be involved with him. It's great. Classy guy, too. Very classy, De Niro.
Doesn't Robert De Niro and Bradley Cooper have a very special relationship off camera as well?
They do, almost, in a father-son type way. They're very close. And the scene where Robert De Niro cries in the film when he's talking to Bradley, David told me that wasn't even scripted. He didn't even call for that. So, there's pretty real emotions going on between both those two characters, great chemistry. And I know David was very grateful for that. He talked about that at length.
Many of your books, your novels, have been optioned for movies. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's heady.
Exciting.
I'm very grateful for that. I could go through the lists. Forgive Me, Leonard Peacock is with the Weinstein Company, who did Silver Linings. The Good Luck Right Now is DreamWorks and Steven Spielberg. My next book, Love May Fail, is Sony. The other YAs have been optioned as well. And it's really gratifying to have that. It really helps a lot to put your work on that big platform. It's what every author dreams about. I feel incredibly lucky and grateful that people in LA seem to be paying attention and seem to get my work and enjoy it. So hopefully we'll have another good ride soon.
Your new book that you just mentioned, is that coming out in 2015, or is that because I haven't seen much about that yet?
Yeah, Love May Fail will be out in the summer of 2015, and I can't talk a lot about it now because it's kind of under wraps. But we'll be promoting that soon. Probably in the next couple months, there'll be some more announcements about that.
Can you give us a little hint about what it's about? Just a tiny one.
It was very much inspired by my teaching time. It's kind of in a nutshell. It's about a former student who comes back to save a teacher. It's about much more than that. It's definitely about mental health again, but I'm really proud of it. And my wife seems to think it's my best work yet, and my people in LA were very thrilled with it as well. So hopefully everyone else will like it too.
When you're writing, do you ever wonder or kind of get some cold feet wondering if this next novel is going to be a hit or going to really represent you or fail in some way? Do you go through that as a writer?
Yeah, I mean, every time you go to the page, it's difficult. Sometimes I romanticize writing the Silver Linings Playbook because I wrote it in my in-laws' basement when nobody knew what I was doing and nobody ever expected me to have a career. Once you get a movie deal and you go to the Oscars and all of that, expectations are a lot higher the next time around. And so dealing with those expectations and dealing with the spotlight and doing media and all of that it's definitely puts you in a different headspace than where you were when you were just writing. And I try to tell young writers who are up and coming that, where you are now is really a beautiful place to be because you don't have all of these voices in your head. It's just you and the page. And I think once you start to publish and you go through the ups and downs of publishing and you realize that it's a business and you're not just making art, but you're trying to have all these relationships with many different people, it does change things and it's never the same again. It's not to say it's not a good thing because I really enjoy the relationships with the people I have in New York and LA. But it definitely, it puts pressure on you, it does. And, just like, David had pressure on him when he made Silver Linings to, put people in movie theaters and sell tickets, we have pressure to sell books and to meet expectations. So that can weigh heavily on you.
Well, you're doing a great job, and thanks so much for being with us and for all that you're giving to everybody.
Well, I appreciate that.
My
Thanks
pleasure.
for having me on.
Are you looking to reinvent yourself? If so, stay tuned because when we come back, we'll share one woman's story that will drive you on to create a new you. Are you ready for a career change or just aching to do something different? Maybe your interests are changing and you're looking for something new to do or hoping to jumpstart your business, my next guest story of reinventing herself will delight and inspire you. She's a marketing and branding expert and the CEO of iColor Studio. Rita Christensen, welcome.
Oh, Joanne, thank you for having me here today. This is a thrill.
You are a thrill. Okay, so here you are, this great CEO, you have this wonderful company, and then you shift gears. What happened that made you take that shift and that leap, really?
My girls left home. One went to college early. I'm going to play field hockey in her 3rd year, and the oldest said, 2 weeks, Mom, I'm going into an apartment. So I got that empty nest feeling, and I felt terrible. I really did. I had a really bad case of the blues, and I said, I need to laugh. I love to laugh. So I signed up for a comedy course and never read the last 2 lines that
said,
you will be performing at Helium or a club in Springfield at the end of the semester, and I never noticed it.
So you missed that part.
Missed that part, just went to the class, just dove in.
So what happened when you finally found out? Did you find out the first day?
I found out it was an extraordinary class.
Too late.
Way too late. Extraordinary class, and it was mostly men. There were 10 men in the class and 2 women. And about 3 or 4 of us have remained chums. We do all kinds of fundraisers. We do all kinds of open mics. We have a blast.
Speaking of fundraisers, you actually came in with your comedy crew and did a and helped us doing a fundraiser for Autism Speak. So thank you for that. Right, a couple of years ago.
You're welcome.
Okay, so you've said business is changing. How is business changing?
I love that it's changing because when I entered my business career, it was very staid and very formal and electric typewriters and white gloves and suits. And now you can be quirky. You can have fun with it. And my clients are fun. It's really a great time to be in business for me.
And you actually...
Fits my personality.
It does, right? You actually are Miss Podcator, right? Podcator. So what happened with that?
I fell in love with podcasting. I ran every day and I got tired of the same information, my tapes breaking, my CDs popping, and I found out about podcasting in California about 10 years ago at the Apple show. Came back, I still didn't understand it. I branded the Podcator, became the first in the country to teach podcasting in a college.
Bravo. Okay, so Dancing with the Stars? Really Dancing with the Stars?
That was another a bump in the road. My daughter had shoulder surgery.
But is it really Dancing with the Stars?
In Cherry Hill, it's a huge event. The president of the Philly Pops performs. A couple of local TV reporters are involved, and they asked me to star in Dancing with the Stars, and what a thrill ride.
Do you have a dancing background?
None, 0. So to learn choreography at this age, it was
She's
very
not telling her age.
frustrating. Yeah, very frustrating, but what a thrill ride when the audience clapped before the dance was even over. I think my friends and family were afraid I was really.
Do you showcase that? Do you have events where you're showing that
Actually,
to your
I was
friends?
invited back to do my dance again.
Where?
It was in Westville, New Jersey. It was for a dancing showcase, and the song that we did was "Let It Go" from Frozen, which is really popular right now.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, it was a thrill.
What would you say to someone, whether it's in their lives or in their careers, who are wanting or who's wanting to reinvent himself or herself?
I'd say swallow your pride. As a young mother, I wanted to be home for a while, but we needed a car. So I picked up the phone and I called the local editor and I said, "Hire me, I'll do anything." And she said, "I need a reporter tonight." And that was it. Changed my life in so many wonderful ways.
So you did reporting for a while?
I did reporting. And I went back to college and retooled myself so that when the kids went back to school or when they started their own college careers, I could start an ad agency, and that's where I am today.
What's your guiding force each and every day?
Well, my clients don't know this, but I do pray.
All right. Well, they're going to watch this,
for their
Rita.
success every day, and that I can be successful on their behalf. It's so much fun. It really is.
Not only that, they've done some research about prayer, and I know some physicians that actually have prayed for his or her patients, and they've seen some incredible results. So prayer does work, and the fact that you're doing it for your clients says that you're not just interested in Rita, but you're interested in helping your clients, not so that they keep hiring you, but so that they they do well and they move on and they go forward in what they want.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I have clients that I believe in what they do. So that makes my job easier, and I really do want to see them succeed. And I have a little acronym for that power of prayer, which is POP.
Oh, P-O-P,
P-O-P,
power of prayer.
Power of prayer.
Is there a special prayer that you say with that?
No, I speak from my heart. I just say, please help them be successful in their mission, because a lot of my clients help other people, medical facilities, and some are products, and it's just this feeling that we're all in here to work. We might as well make it fun and be successful at it.
And you do make it fun, and you are successful, and you help your clients get to be more successful.
I hope so. That's a wonderful compliment, Joanne, from you. I hope so.
You are wonderful. Thank you so much, Rita, for being here and for taking the time out of your very busy day.
You're just saying that because it's true, Joanne.
Power Your Life will be right back. Ahead, find out what's hot for next week. Before we go, I'd like to leave you with my PowerPoints for the week. We create fear by our thoughts, and you know how vivid and real they can often be, catching us off guard. Yet we can also dissolve those fears and make them less overwhelming and less intimidating. So try this tip. Remind yourself of past times when you felt brave or when you acted courageously, and let those memories override your fears by writing them or seeing them in your inner vision. Play them over and over in your mind, recording them. And every time you do replay them, strengthen your feelings, which convinces your inner mind that you're fearless. We build up our courage every time we face something that we're fearful of, and we decide to push through the fears and to come out on the other side. Then what we have is another fearless moment to remember. It takes some practice, but it's so worth it. Thanks for being with us today. Next week, Real Housewives of New Jersey, Kathy Wakili, will join me to dish up some of her Italian treats. Always remember that you have the power to power your dreams and power your life.